Hi, you're welcome back to my channel. So in this tutorial, we'll be cutting and sewing this lovely gown. So please, it's an interesting one. So stay tight and enjoy. Okay, so for this butterfly dress, the first thing I did is to measure the full length of the dress. Okay, I think it's about 60 inches and also 2 inches for hemming allowance. Okay, but if you look at the design properly, there is an attachment at the end. Okay, so instead of adding the hemming allowance, I deducted 2 inches. So from the full length, I removed 2 inches again, so that I will use the 2 inches for the plain fabric that is coming as an attachment. So that's what I just did now. Okay, so now I cut the same thing for the same length for both front and back. So working on the back now, I decided to do to add some things. So for this particular one, I'll be using a zipper. I'll be attaching a zipper to the back, but trust me, this is optional. You might not need a zipper for yours. It will function well without a zipper. So before removing the zipper allowance, the way I always do for clothing that is going to be fitted, so I remove 1 inch from the waistline and I blend it um to the top and also to the full length of the dress. Okay, so after removing that 1 inch, then I went ahead to also measure 1 inch for zipper allowance. But trust me, I said the zipper allowance is optional. You can just leave the back plain. Okay, and expand your neckline so that the head, no matter the hairstyle, it will enter properly. Then I went ahead to measure my neck width and the neck depth. So I used 4 inches for the neck width and the neck depth, I think 1.5 or 2 inches. Then at the extreme end, I measured 1 inch for shoulder slope. Okay, so even the shoulder slope is optional. It's just to prevent since it's an Ankara fabric and it could be strong, so to prevent it from hanging at the shoulder. Okay, so then after this, I went ahead to measure the bust point, and the purpose of this bust point is just for the sake of okay, fixing your body measurements, and also for the sleeve round so that you know where to start the sewing from. Okay, so now all things together, you might not really need this measurement, okay, but just to show or to determine the allowance you want to add to the whole thing. Okay, so that you have the same thing with both front and back. So this is what we have for the back. You just secure it with pin, okay, so that while cutting the excess, it doesn't shake around. So I removed the 1 inch that I first measured, remove the neckline, and also okay, so working on the front pattern, I'll be cutting the neck width. I'll be using 4 inches for the neck width. Okay, then also the same way I created the shoulder slope, remove 1 inch from the shoulder. You can make it ½ inch, okay, it depends. So either ½ inch, 3/4 inch, or 1 inch is okay. Then the neck depth for front, I measured 5 inches for the front. Then I create the round neckline first. Okay, then apart from the round neckline, we'll go ahead and measure the bust point also. I remember the measurement I used for the back. Okay, and the same extra allowance, so that the joint in the side seam will fall and in the right place. Okay, so cross check this and make sure it's the same thing all through. So it depends, you can use the largest part of the body, which is the hip, if it's the hip area, the hip round or the bust round. So this particular person, I use the hip round. Okay, and for my shoulder, I determine how long I want the butterfly to be. Then remember I said it has to be the same thing with what I used at the back. So if you need to remove some inches, or just make sure it's aligned, and you know there's an attachment coming at the end of the side seam. So about 2 inches of my plain fabric is coming in, so that's why I have to remove 2 inches. Okay, so it's going to be a straight line from the shoulder down to the ending of the gown. So please just follow the tutorial carefully. So I trimmed that much out because of the plain fabric that is coming for the attachments. Okay, so the same thing I did for the front, brought it to the back also, to make sure I have equal, the dress has equal width. Okay, so I'm also going to trim out the excess here. Then there's an opening at the front, so I measure some inches down. Depends on how deep you want it to be. Okay, so I'll be using this plain satin, for the front design. Then I'll go ahead and trace out the pattern that I'll be using for this. So at the shoulder area, it's going to stop at the shoulder. Okay, so that's where I measured. So you measure how wide and how long you want it to be. Remember, the neckline is going to be the same. Okay, then you carefully remove it and now cut out the design you want. Okay, so this is going to be longer, a bit longer than the waistline. I think I measured about 18 inches here, 19 inches, so it depends on how you want it. Please, it's your design, so you can create it the way you want. So just making sure that my measurements align. Now cut it out before I create the design. So I'll carefully create your desired design however you want the shape to be. Depends on you. So I'm just taking my time to create something reasonable out of this. Remember, use your chalk on the wrong side of the fabric, so that no matter what you draw, it won't stain. The stain won't be obvious in front. Then I cut it out. Okay, so I measured the length of the opening I have at the center front. So now transfer the same thing to the plain satin. Just open it like so. Just open it up carefully, the same length in the fabric. Okay, so this is what I have. I went ahead and give it a good press. I've ironed it and also folded in 1/2 inch at the edge, so that when I'm sewing this, it won't be moving. So now I'm going to place this satin right side onto the inside of my Ankara fabric. Then I'll stitch the neckline. So I've done that. Then you need to carefully notch the neckline, especially the center front, the V part. Make sure you notch it to the end, but be careful not to cut the thread. So this will help the neck, the two fabric to lie properly. Then you turn it to the proper side. Remember, the right side of the satin onto the left side, to the wrong side of the ankara. Stitch the neckline, then you now turn it over. And you give it a good press too. So remember to push out that sharp edge on both sides. That's the way I'm doing. You can see, so push it out and also give it a good press. Okay, so another thing, I went ahead to iron a gum stay, the strong one, onto that edge to avoid folding, because with time I realized some dresses fold up at that center front, which is not supposed to be. So now I've went ahead and top stitch on the satin, top stitch, and also join the shoulder. So now I'll be measuring around the from one hemming to the other, okay, in order to attach the other plain fabric. That's the side seam. You can see I measure from down up to the shoulder, then to the back. Also you measure front and back together, and also the hemming, you measure the front, there's the front hemming, that's the full length of the gown, you measure it, note it down, and also the back, you measure it and note it. So I went ahead to cut the satin fabric. You can see it's on fold, so it's about 2 inches on fold, and also my sewing allowance, I iron it down. Okay, then I'll show you how to attach this in order to get a good finishing, a neat finishing. Okay, so I'm starting from the down. So you open it up, you can see just what the way I place it. So place your fabric in between this and top stitch, so this will give you a clean finishing. Okay, or then another way you can attach the plain fabric at the for the butterfly, you can also attach it like a band, a skirt band, but see the outcome. Okay, so you top stitch neatly, take your time and do this. So the dress is, we're almost done. So now we need to create the shape. You decide how wide or how free you want this to be on your body. If it's going to be fitted, you use your body measurement. You can see the way I'm measuring this. So I'm using the hip measurement, okay, using the center front as the center, you understand, so in order to locate the center, so you measure it at the bust point. So I'm just trying to look for the midpoint. Okay, so I measure this, and also on both sides. So note, you have to do the sewing on the right side of the fabric. Excuse me, you have to do the sewing on the right side of the fabric. This sewing is outside, not inside, because it's a butterfly dress. Okay, so you measure whatever measurement you want on the bust point. Okay, and remember the sewing is going to start from, is either you locate your armhole, your armhole depth, or you just start from your bust point. It doesn't have to be tight, it's going to be free. Then make sure you have the same allowance on both sides after deciding how many the measurement you're going to work with. Okay, so the same thing, you can locate the waistline and decide the measurement you want on your waistline. If you want this thing to be fitted, that's why you will do all this. But if you just want a free dress with butterfly, just whatever your body measurement is, add up enough allowance so that it will be free on your body. And note, if it's going to be free, you don't need a zipper. Just the way I said earlier. And from the picture, you will notice that this thing is a bit fitted on the body, but it now flare down like a shape gown. So that's why I'm having this at the hemming. So it's going to be so free at the hemming. So I went ahead and do this and did the sewing. So I gave it a little shape from the bust to the waist. So from the waist now, I now sew it down like an A-shaped dress. So it's flared down. So but remember, like I always said, it depends on you. If you want it to be just a free gown, it can be a free gown without any fittings. Okay, so that's all about this dress. Though it takes time, just take your time and design whatever you want, but it's simple. This is what it looks like. You can see the butterfly, the neck design, you can see. So I have enough butterfly because I gave it the shape. So just decide the way you want yours. So I hope you find this video helpful. Please remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, please subscribe. So thank you guys for watching. Please feel free to share your opinion in the comment section. So I'll see you in my next video. That's all about this. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. So stay blessed. Bye.